mean, the one thing I do want to say though,
introspection of the past.
Come on. Now, where's that tape? Come on. Oh, there it is. Alright, that's not it. Where's that damn thing? Put it here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, there it is. When I made my CitizenCon predictions video, it occurred to me how little I remembered of the time I spent in Levki, and how little I remembered of NYXT in general. Today, we will stride towards the destination on a journey to witness what the future might hold for us by looking into the past. Come with me now to explore NYXT. NYXT was discovered in the universe in 2582. NYXT is essentially just a smattering collection of meteorites, asteroids, and planetoids. The system was mostly deemed as a valueless gathering of rocks.
The rocks, Hank!
No, they're minerals. Jesus, Marie.
Which were only to be mined and exploited. But the inherent value of NYXT can be found in its numerous jump point connections, where this system connects to a total of 6 other systems, making it a bit of a nexus point. As you can see, there is a lot of space for these jump points. And now we will explore where NYXT actually connects to. We begin with Odin, where 90% of Squadron 42 takes place.
Tell me you're expecting company?
This is not good.
Pyro, which we all know and love.
I'm the conductor of the poop train!
Toe Hill, for all you foot fetishists out there.
Oh, I see you. I see you back there. Yes, I see you.
And of course Virgil, where you belong. No, of course not. Virgil is famous for Vanduul having swarmed the star system years ago, and that's where they come from. To you. And Bremen, where canonically all Germans in Star Citizen come from. And last but not least, Castra, one of the systems we will touch on a little bit later. NYXT's planets are generally seen as quite irrelevant, as they're only used for mining purposes and none have been terraformed. There are currently 3 planets in NYXT. NYXT-1, a coreless planet that is also uninhabitable, which is mostly only used for mining. NYXT-2, which is a smog planet with an atmosphere that is both corrosive and poisonous for humans. It's in the so-called Goldilocks zone, but cannot be terraformed due to technological limitations. NYXT-3, which is an ice giant and is so uninhabitable that miners don't find the risk worth it. Ooh. And now, after all this high energy, I would like to slow things down for a moment to simply appreciate something which is quite rare these days. On screen now, what you can see is the ARC map, which is currently available on the RSI website, freely provided by CIG. It is fantastic. I cannot praise this ambient track enough. It soothes my heart and very soul into a magnificent foray of serene tranquility. It is fantastic. Take this moment to contemplate and reflect. You can trust me, no loud noises, just listen. You didn't trust me, did you? Wise. But amongst all of these rocks, one is of particular note and importance, Delmar. On or in Delmar, we can find an old, formerly abandoned asteroid mining base, now called Levki, which is the major landing zone for this system. Delmar is of particular note because of its history within Star Citizen's development. It was one of the first areas where we saw a person fly down from space and land on a planet, or a planetoid in this case. Delmar was added temporarily to the Stanton system for 3.0.0, and was of course later removed as we got more content in Stanton. But before we talk more about the developmental history of Levki and Delmar, we will dive instead into the lore of Star Citizen and the lore of Levki. And Delmar. And NYXT. Levki began its history in 2655 during the Mesa era, which precedes the current form of elective monarchy the UEE now has. The Mesa era was a period in human history where the Imperial Mesa dynasty ruled the UEE. The Mesas had usurped the more democratic previous governmental system under the United Planets of Earth, or the UPE, to form the United Empire of Earth under Ivar Mesa. Levki was founded on Delmar by the so-called People's Alliance, which was a group of rebels, critics, and detractors of the Mesa regime which had fled, for differing reasons, to the NYXT system to find safe refuge. Anthony Tanaka was a young boy who at the age of 12, like many others, worked in a factory under the Mesa regime. After a grueling 16-hour shift, he was ordered to cover for another co-worker, but he refused. This refusal led to the boy being executed on the spot on the factory floor by company security forces. And this execution was captured on the factory's CCTV camera system, which was later copied, smuggled out, and later shared with the wider public, which led to outrage.
Hello, my name is Cowboy Tanaka.
Oh dear, this was not good. People were not happy. The adults didn't know what to do, and the children were horrified.
My name is Cowboy Tanaka.
People became depressed, wondering what they could do, but some organized and started protesting against the Mesa movement and eventually started the rebellion against them. This rebellion eventually culminated in the final Mesa being murdered in his own bed. Though new people came to power within the UEE, the People's Alliance and Levki chose to maintain their irrelevant independence from the United Empire of Earth. And after all the wars were done, people were only left to remember, which became the basis for Remembrance Day, where people celebrate and mourn those who died during the anti-Mesa regime rebellion. And Anthony Tanaka is still remembered to this day and memorialized in the Anthony Tanaka Monument, which can be seen in Levki. Oh dear, that got a bit dark. Time for a tone shift. Instead of languishing in dread, we now move on to the developmental history of NYXT.
So here we are, just this is the upper orbit station.
Damn, imagine having an upper orbit station today.
So we'll just get a bit closer to lower orbit stuff. And so in 3.0, and we're demonstrating every planet, every moon will be fully done, rendered, physicalized. You can land on any part of them, walk all the way around it if you want, if you've got months to do that, because they're quite large.
This is of course important to uplift, as they have indeed kept this promise until this day. You can walk around any planetary body if you like. I mean, it's an insane thing to do, but they have kept this promise. For as much as I love ragging on CIG and Chris Roberts, this is a marvel of modern gaming.
Delmar here is about 2,000 kilometers in diameter, and you can actually see if you look at the curvature.
As we can see, Delmar at this stage is not just an asteroid, it's actually a moon, which they later change, so that is why there's a discrepancy at this point. So there's a common myth that the people that developed the system where we walk around a planet in Star Citizen was developed by the Engine Boys in Frankfurt. This is false, because of the simple fact that the only established place in Star Citizen lore that exists that is German is Bremen. The importance of NYXT, or more accurately Delmar, is the fact that for most, this was the first time in 2016 we got to see Star Citizen's promise truly come to life. We saw at the 2016 Gamescom that you could quantum jump from a location to another, go through an atmosphere and land on a planetary surface, and also land at a landing zone.
So switch it. Switch it, Jared. No, point of view, Jared. Pilot, Jared.
Medium left! Listen to my calls! Medium left into sharp left! You're not concentrating, Sammy. You're watching out the driving.
There you go. Okay. Alright, so now we can either request or cancel a landing we wanted to, but we're going to request a landing from the Levki control tower there. Eslen Macken is the character here.
Landing pad assigned.
So, like, one of the big things is we went from Olasar, I think we traveled about 1 million kilometers to Delmar. Now we've flown over the surface, coming here to Levki. And, you know, the goal with Star Citizen is to have a very structured but beautiful and tactile world and universe. So here we are, we've just tracked down. And we've arrived at Levki. So let's go head into Levki to look for Miles Eckhart. And so let's walk out. So here's the area, the lobby is basically, these are lists from the 4 landing areas you can come to. Welcome to Levki. So you can sort of see the feel, the character, the grounding that we want in the world and the universe. Here's a statue. Remember Anthony Tanaka.
It is this section that truly blew my mind. When my friend showed me this, I couldn't believe it.
So we can see, there you are, that's the Levki that we came in throughout, and in fact, look who's looking in at us. It's Chris. Oh, and look, we can zoom in, and look, there's, who's that? Glenn, you want to wave? There you go. So there's a lot of work that's gone into the tech to allow us to do this kind of detail. So we'll sit here and we'll go down. Chris is going to show off, but we're also going to take a look. If we look at Chris's view, as he's looking around, you can actually see the elevator moving, right? So there you are, you see the elevator moving? Everything here in Levki it's the same as our ships. We build it, there's no cheating, there's no teleporting to different areas. It's all physically correct. Elevators physically move, so we'll get out here. The Grand Bar. Here we go. Into the Grand Barda Bazaar. So here we are in the Grand Barda Bazaar. And we look out, so like all the landing locations that we're going to have in Star Citizen, and this will be true in 3.02, is that they'll be selling different things. So you'll come to, say, Levki to buy things you can't buy in other places, and go to ArtCorp for this, buy things you can get there that you can't get elsewhere.
The Miles Eckhart section was also important in establishing a more cinematic world feel to Star Citizen, where we actually saw how the world was slowly starting to come to life, which was later removed and now is slowly starting to be re-added again, which is kind of odd, but also very cool to see Miles again. Delmar was removed in 2021 with patch 3.12.1 due to factors such as taking up necessary server resources and the fact that it didn't belong in Stanton, but NYXT. We now move on to the 2024 CitizenCon presentation, Beyond Pyro, which is still unfinished. So in 2024 it was announced that NYXT was indeed being worked on again, and Delmar was getting quite a facelift, showing us that at some point we will get to explore this wonderful location again. Seeing as they have this massive mined-out cavity within the asteroid, I'm curious what actually lives within it. I'm of course aware of the fly-through wish they did, but I think we should forego this idea and instead put a massive space worm in there. Levki boss, here we go. Yes, I had to see that, and so do you.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh man.
Gentlemen, before you pass this point, and I do mean gentlemen, Ensure that your masks are on and that you're huffing only the purest copium, because otherwise you're going to laugh at me and I don't like that. Also, hello to that 0.5% female audience. Truly a marvelous occasion. Nice to see I've still got it. What makes Castra special? I'm going to throw it out there, beyond mere scenery, what Castra is probably going to be a gate to is the genre, as it borders their systems. So upon Castra's implementation, we are probably not far off from seeing genre in the game. And what makes Terra special? It is the jewel of the United Empire of Earth, and it will show players the power of humanity in all its might, a safe and secure society.
For a safe and secure society.
So what makes NYXT special? For some people I've spoken to, NYXT appear to be just another pyro, a lawless system run by gangs and ne'er-do-wells. Nothing could be further from the case. Humanity is presented as quite the monolith currently, with the UEE's presence in Stanton being limited to events like Invictus Launch Week or the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. The United Empireverse in-law reason for the limited presence in the system is due to the private corporations owning each of the planets and their moons, and are protected mostly by private security and us, player contractors. What NYXT offers is an alternative human experience for players that are not fond of or liked by the UEE. The citizens of NYXT are clearly lawful individuals, but have another system of government compared to the UEE.
I am your king.
Didn't know we had a king.
And who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What?
I told you, we're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week.
Yes.
But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified.
Shut up! Will you shut up?
Ah, now we see the violence inherent in the system. Shut up! Oh, come and see the violence inherent in the system! Help, help, I'm being repressed!
Bloody peasant!
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
As we saw in Stanton, we got the opportunity to vote for a new Imperator. Perhaps NYXT will offer us an in-universe alternative political system which players can take part in. That was a long sentence. Naturally, this is all speculation on my part, but it would be an interesting feature of the game to offer players a chance, in an MMO, to affect the area or system in a small, noticeable way. See it as an extension of the Second Life resource drive where the players got to choose and Hurston won, which means that Hurston Dynamics now controls the Pyro Gateway. Like the gangs controlling Pyro, the Imperator controlling Terra and Castra, something unique has to be a draw for players that differs from mere enemy variety and differing resources. Thanks for watch.
Subscribe to my channel.
On second thought, let's not go to NYXT. It's a silly place. I'm not putting this in.